Pokemon, Tekken, two series that I love, and they're coming together to create one of the greatest ideas ever, a Pokemon fighting game. Now, at the moment of recording this, we only have 5 characters confirmed, those being Lucario, Machamp, Pikachu, Gardevoir, and Suicune. And since Blaziken was shown in the original teaser, it's pretty safe to guess that he's in as well. With this, I'm going to list 20-ish, we'll get to that, Pokemon I want to be in this game. So, are there any rules to this list? Not really, and I'll get this out of the way now. I probably won't really be talking about movesets. Reason being is, I don't know what I'll say beyond, oh, they can use moves from their games, because it's like, yeah, no fucking shit, Sherlock. Anyways, let's begin. The starters. Yeah, I decided to put the starters together, mostly so that this list wouldn't consist of like 1/4 of them being starter Pokemon, but I didn't want to exclude them either. I mean, the starter Pokemon are iconic, they're the first Pokemon you get, and it'd just be fitting to have them. Hell, if Blaziken's in, we have proof that starters are going to be in. Though we probably won't get every single starter, because that'll take up like 18 character slots. And I think it's safe to say that Charizard's more likely to be playable than, say, Torterra or something. Though if they do put starters in, I would like at least one of each type, so it won't be like Smash 4 where we get no grass representation. Abomasnow. The reason why Abomasnow is on this list is I needed an ice type and it seemed like the best choice. I mean, he looks huge and he was given a Mega Evolution. Though I put him low on the list because I'm not a huge fan of him. I mean, hell, there's another ice type that I wanted to put on this list, but I didn't because of the next pick. Now, there were quite a few Pokemon I considered for this list, 3 of them being Weavile, Zangoose, and Sandslash. But I didn't pick them because the main thing is Sharp Claws, and I felt that there was another Pokemon that Game Freak seems to like a bit more, since they tried to push it in the 5th gen. So yeah, number 18 is Zoroark, cause he has claws and slashes at stuff. Yeah, I'd rather have Weavile, but I think this is more likely. Oh, and he does have that whole illusion thing. They could probably work that in somehow. Alakazam. Now, originally, I had Alakazam much higher on the list, like within the top 10. But he got dramatically lowered when I realized that I can't really picture him in a fighting game. I mean, yeah, I can't imagine him shooting projectiles most of the time, but, well, if this was a 2D fighting game, that'd be great, but since this is on a 3D plane, that seems like it'd be very easy to dodge, and even though Alakazam is cool, he probably wouldn't be the best character to play as. So yeah, I like this character, but I'm not sure if he can work. Nidoking. Poison is an interesting type to me, mostly since it's one of the types that I constantly forget what it's weak and strong against. Though, if I had to pick a favorite poison type, it would most likely be Nidoking. I mean, he just looks like he was made for a fighting game. He looks intimidating and will wreck your shit. And I bet some of you are wondering, what about Nidoqueen? Well, I wouldn't mind if she was playable too, but one, Nidoking looks cooler, and, well, Nidoqueen slightly bothers me because, well, she has boobs. Why does it have boobs?
So furries can have something to masturbate to.
I mean, some people out there give Gardevoir and Lopunny shit because the internet seems to take a liking to them, but they don't hate Nidoqueen for shaking her fun bags in Pokemon Stadium. I'm just saying, the one that's exclusively female and has feminine features isn't hated upon as much. Though I guess it's easier to sexualize a rabbit and whatever the hell God of War is than some dinosaur thing. I don't want to keep talking about this, let's just move on to the next spot. You know what I find awesome? Golems. No, not that Golem. This Golem. Golok. Golok is probably my third favorite 5th gen Pokemon. I mean, he looks awesome, gigantic, has a unique typing of Ghost Ground. Oh, and he can somehow learn the move Fly. I mean, am I the only one who wants to ride into battle on the back of a giant flying golem? So I especially want to play as it in a fighting game. I mean, the closest thing is the upcoming character for Killer Instinct, but I can't play that until I get money or if an Xbox One falls off of a truck. So yeah, Golok. Snorlax. Now this seems like an odd choice since Snorlax's main thing is sleeping, but let's face it, Hyper Beam, Mega Punch, Chip Away, Retaliate, there's just plenty of good normal type moves that he can use in this game. I mean, when it came to normal types, I did also consider Slacking, but, well, I like Snorlax more. Mostly since Slacking's ability truant makes him attack every other turn. So yeah, maybe not necessary for this game, but I do still feel like he's the best normal type choice. Breloom. Breloom is so awesome. It's a cool mushroom dinosaur thing. It was the very first grass fighting type ever, and it has cute little arms. It just makes me want to hug it. I mean, the main reason why I want to play as him is because I like his design and typing. And I didn't even put him in the top 10 because of that. Just make it happen. Electa Buyer. In the 4th gen, we got many evolutions to previous Pokemon. Some lame, and some awesome. And Electa Buyer was one of the awesome ones, being this cool electric Sasquatch thing. I mean, I could just picture it running around in this game, thunder punching foes to death. Plus, on a side note, in my game, I don't really like having 2 of the same Pokemon, with exceptions being like starters and legendaries, yet I have 2 Electa Buyers, so yeah. When Suicune was announced, that opened the door for me to put plenty 4-legged Pokemon onto this list. So, here's the only one that I did put on the list, and it's another one of the legendary dogs, Entei. Entei is personally my favorite of the legendary dog trio. Plus, I doubt this affects the game in any way, but Entei did star in the 3rd movie where Suicune took a backseat to Sobi and Raikou didn't even get a movie. He was just in a few episodes of Pokemon Chronicles. I just want my favorite out of a trio when one already got in. Oh, and speaking of Suicune, I have to ask this. Is it just me, or does Suicune look too good? To me, this seems like the most realistic we've ever seen a Pokemon outside of fan art, and I wouldn't call it Uncanny Valley, but it makes me feel kind of uncomfortable. I mean, I'm starting to wonder if there's a point where you go and say, this looks too realistic. Ganga. Now for this game, I hope to see at least one of each type. And, well, I may have already had a ghost type on this list with Golok, but I feel if you have just one ghost type playable in this game, go with the original. I mean, Ganga feels like an iconic Pokemon to me, since it and its previous evolutions were the only 3 ghost types in Gen 1. Which kinda makes me wonder why would they make a typing if you're just gonna have one line of Pokemon with this typing, but You could say the same thing for Dragon. Hell, Gengar still is kinda relevant to this day since it's one of the Pokemon that got a Mega Evolution, something that a good chunk of the top 10 actually have. Garchomp. Now tell me, if you turned on Pokken Tournament without any knowledge of who is playable, and you saw Garchomp on the character selection screen, can you honestly tell me you wouldn't want to choose him? I mean, Garchomp is iconic in a way. It's one of the pseudo-legendaries, and was the star Pokemon of the 4th Gen's champion, Cynthia. Plus, it's a Dragon Shark! I mean, that sounds like the title of a sci-fi original movie, which is awesome. Or should I say, Jawsome. I am sorry. Tyranitar. I bet some of you are surprised that my second favorite Pokemon is only number 8. I mean, I still stand by my opinion that Tyranitar is amazing and a million times better than Dragonite. But when making this list, I went on my feelings of what would fit in the game over what I really like. Hence why Jigglypuff and Hypno are nowhere on this list. So what I'm saying is, I love Tyranitar, I want him in this game, but I just ended up wanting these next 7 more. You know what's cute? Pandas! Wait, there's a panda Pokemon? I bet it's so— holy shit! Pangoro is just scary looking. I mean, if you met this thing in a dark alley, hell, if you met this thing in a very sunny open field, you would run the fuck away from it. Or going off by the Pokemon rules try to catch it, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, hell, this is technically a Tekken crossover, even though the gameplay resembles an auto-playing game more, but I digress. What I'm getting at is, Tekken has a panda, so why not put in Pokemon's panda? And this is pretty much the same reasoning as I had with Garchomp. It's just an intimidating creature that you want to beat the crap out of your opponents with. Heracross. This thing is awesome. It's the only bug fighting type in existence, and when it was first introduced, it had to move Megahorn all to itself. Think about that. Sure, Megahorn can be used by more Pokemon now, but for quite some time, one, if not the most powerful bug move, was exclusive to Heracross. That, combined with the fact that Heracross is one of the Pokemon that got Mega Evolution, to me shows that the people making Pokemon do like Heracross. Remember when I said that I think they should have at least one of each type? Well, even though I just talked about Heracross, if they were to choose one bug-type Pokemon in this game, I think it should be Scizor. Now, Cypher was already a popular Pokemon, and when the 2nd gen came around, they said, hey, let's make this thing look more awesome and remove most of its weaknesses. Sure, it's now 4 times weak to fire, but hey, every Pokemon needs a weakness. Anyway, Scizor just looks awesome with the shiny red armor and terrifying claws. I mean, sure, Suicune bothers me, but this thing would just look amazing in HD. Gallade. Why? Because Gardevoir is in this game. Yeah, I may have excluded Nidoqueen, Raikou, and someone else that we'll get to, but for this one, I feel like you need both of them. Plus, he would play differently since, well, he's psychic fighting and he has those elbow blades. I even feel like in this gen they started to push Gallade a bit. Since in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire they changed Wally's Gardevoir into a Gallade and gave Wally a Mega Stone to use on said Gallade. Mewtwo. What can I say about Mewtwo? He's iconic, popular, one of the only 2 Pokemon to get 2 Mega Evolutions, the other being Charizard, with said Mega Evolutions being tied for the highest base stats of any Pokemon along with Mega Rayquaza. So yeah, enough said. Lucha, the only fighting flying type currently in existence who has an exclusive move, Flying Press, which is a fighting move that also works like a flying type move. Yes, Lucha more or less has the only dual type move in existence. Let's not forget to mention that he's based off of, if you can't tell by the name, luchadors, which does seem fitting for this game. And it'd be nice to see a luchador in a fighting game that makes me think that the game creators are going, "This is totally not Rey Mysterio, stop saying that he looks like Rey Mysterio because he's not." So yeah, Namco, put this bird in the game. In the end, this is a fighting game, so the best choice should be a fighting type, and I decided to pick the two most iconic fighting types from Gen 1. Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. Is it cheating to put two characters as number 1? Maybe, but this is my list. Plus, when this game was first announced, my first reaction was, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" And then the second thing was, Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan better be in this game. I mean, for me, when I think Fire-type Pokemon, these are the two that pop into my head first. Probably because the episode featuring them and the Fighting Pokemon Tournament was one of my favorite episodes as a kid. And Hitmonlee is one of my favorite Pokemon and would be in my top 10 if Esper didn't exist. Another thing that I may add is that Hitmonchan is a boxer, and personally, I feel like every fighting game should have at least one boxer. Now, I guess I should address one little thing. Hitmontop. I feel like Hitmontop is the one that you could leave out of this game and no one would be too upset over. I mean, sure, he could come too, but he's not needed. So that was the top 20 characters I want in Pokken Tournament. Are there any that you want in this game that didn't make it onto the list? Feel free to say down below. Here's to looking in the coming months and see if any of these Pokemon do make it into the game.